This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
So disappointment for Wrexham. The final score, Wrexham 2, Bromley 2. Wrexham stay top of the table, but lost a 2-goal lead in added time, losing out to a controversial penalty award, and then an injury time own goal. And for the first time in his managerial career, Sam Ricketts will have to deal with a bit of frustration and disappointment after a game that Wrexham looked to have won, although it should be said, probably draws a fair result. Bromley came and made a decent fist of things, especially I thought in the second half. Although if Wrexham had been a bit more ruthless in the penalty area, they might have put the game to bed. So Wrexham starting off with changes to their starting lineup. Interestingly, Nicky Deverdix getting the nod ahead of the injured Luke Young and Paul Rutherford, although Young was fit enough to play off the bench. Scott Burgess, the new man, not in the matchday squad. Stuart Bevan also came in ahead of Rakeal Pike up front. Mark Carrington continued at right back, making his 200th appearance for the club. And the first half saw Wrexham have spells of superiority. They earned their first one fairly early on after a scrappy opening 10 minutes and started to carve out a few chances. Summerfield swinging a corner in to the far post, a Keel Wright arriving beyond the last man, and from 6 yards out planting a header wide. He immediately had his head in his hands. He's frustrated and knew that was a decent opportunity for him to open the scoring. Bromley responded with their best spell of the half, though. Started to pen Wrexham in a little bit, and Wrexham was struggling to defend crosses into the penalty area. The first chance like that came when the short corner was worked back to the taker, Sutherland. He ripped a glorious right-footed cross in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and the big centre-back, okay, got up, just couldn't properly get on top of his header under pressure and planted it over from 6 yards out. But Wrexham then came back and they took a bit more of a grip. Summerfield was looking commanding in midfield. Keel Wright was phenomenal in the consistency and regularity of which he was making interceptions, and he continued that throughout the entire match. And Wrexham were starting to get a bit of a grip. Fondop was looking threatening up front. Bevan's movement was good, and Bromley's three at the back approach was causing them problems. The wing-backs, especially Toby Adebayo-Rowling on the right-hand side, were pushing up, and as a result, the movement of Bevan and behind him was giving first James Jennings at left-back, then Mark Carrington at left-back, for reasons I explain in a moment, the opportunity to feed balls in, bypassing the wing-back and letting Bevan drag the centre-backs out of position. And this was something Wrexham would capitalise on throughout the first half. In the 20th minute, Adebayo-Rowling coming forwards, though, changed the balance inadvertently. Jennings went across, seemed to have the situation under control, but then looks like his hamstring went, and suddenly Adebayo-Rowling was all on his own the right flank. He pulled a good cross back into Bagil, who's standing around the penalty spot. Should have done better. A free header. He planted it across goal, but wide of the left post. Wrexham, though, came back into things. 28th minute, Jordan Maguire-Drew switching over to the left-hand side to try and get a taste of that inviting space in behind Adebayo-Rowling. Dragged Okoye out from the centre, beat him beautifully, swung a great far post cross in. Bevan attacking it at close range, just couldn't quite get a touch onto it. Not the last time in the half that would happen. And within a minute, Bromley going up the other end, having a corner. It's cleared. Maguire-Drew, who takes up a little half-and-half position. He's not defending. He's just hanging around deep, hoping to get the ball to his feet so we can spark a breakaway. On this occasion, he got his wish. It came out to him, but it was a poor first touch by him. He gave it back to Raymond, the corner taker. He swept it in, and Porter, with a stooping header 6 yards out, should have done better, planted it wide of the right post, and within 2 minutes, Bromley were made to pay for missing those headed opportunities. The 31st minute, a great finish by Mike Fondop to maintain his goal-scoring record. It started off with the Keel Wright again, typically winning a header, which turned the defence. Fondop, it was an awkward one for him, dropping over his shoulder. He tried to take a touch. It was probably the wrong decision, because in doing so, it disturbed his stride. As he just tried to run onto the bouncing ball, he probably wouldn't even one-on-one with the keeper. In doing that, he lost his stride and allowed the defender to get across in front of him, Goddard, but the defender then made a poor error in trying to deal with it, and Fondop, who's typically run on after it, found himself nudging him out of the way and one-on-one with the keeper. Gregory came off his line. Fondop responded with a superb instinctive finish, lobbing it over him to put Wrexham into the lead, and Wrexham continued then to push on for the rest of the half, and were maybe unfortunate not to add to that advantage. In the 39th minute, Jordan Maguire-Drew ripping in another good cross. Fondop 15 yards out, running onto it, planting a header on it. Maybe his contact was a little bit too good as he floated it over the bar. Maguire-Drew then on the break, chipping the ball forwards. Fondop picking it up again, charging through the ball and finding himself one-on-one, and he tried to sort of replicate his earlier finish. Not a lob this time, but a chip. It wasn't the right choice, I don't think. He should have just gone for an orthodox finish. Didn't get enough height on it, and Gregory was able to catch it over his head. And then the second incident where Maguire-Drew tried a bit of creative wizardry, and Bevan was inches short. This time on the right-hand side, a glorious little pass inside. I mean, it was such a difficult ball to try and take on. The weight would have to be absolutely perfect to put Bevan one-on-one. Bevan's intelligence again meant he was reading Maguire-Drew's intentions and making runs which offered targets. Bevan went after it, and he was inches short. An excellent tackle on him, otherwise he would have been one-on-one with the keeper. And moments later, Wrexham again threatened with that combination. The ball was cleared out after that tackle, but Maguire-Drew got it again on the right, whipped a wicked ball to the far post. Bevan again was a willing target, and he squared it into the goal mouth, an open goal, but a defender got there first and was able to hack it clear. So at half-time, not the most fluent Wrexham performance, but one up, and deservedly so, and starting to create. And the defensive issues caused by James Jennings' injury didn't look too much of a problem either. Doug Farm had come on to make his league debut. He went over to the right-back position. Carrington switched over to the left-back position, appropriate perhaps that in his 200th appearance for the club, Carrington should show such versatility, starting off at one side, finishing it on another. And Wrexham looked all right. But the start of the second half, things were different. Bromley brought off, had to buy a rolling and switched to a flat back four. And Wrexham never really got a good head of steam going, although it should be said, as Bromley's defence were not looking the most convincing. They continued to create chances. But Bromley were maybe the more likely side in many respects in terms of possession of the ball. Wrexham, though, carved out the odd chance. Maguire-Drew running at his defence, trying to feed a through ball for Luke Young, who was come on after Wrexham had to make another couple of changes. Stuart Bevan has had to go off. He had a couple of heavy challenges on him, and Rakeel Pike came on to replace him. And Nicky Devedix got through just over 60 minutes. A mixed performance by Devedix, really. He played a couple of nice touches, and on other occasions wasn't quite so certain with the ball. Young came on and looked impressive. He ran onto this through ball. This is seconds after he'd come on. It was just a bit too heavy for Maguire-Drew after that impressive run, and he couldn't find him. And then within a minute, another opportunity, a poor goal kick by the goalkeeper, Gregory. Fondop charging forwards, one-on-one with the keeper. His first touch when it was played into him was terrific. His second touch wasn't so much, and it looked like it was keeper's ball as Gregory came out at his feet to try and smother. But Fondop then managed to accelerate, nicked it past him and hit the deck. Moments earlier, Fondop had run to the edge of the area and, look, to my money, dived. The referee didn't give the foul, but incredibly didn't give the yellow card. Whether that was playing in the referee's mind or not, I don't know. But on this occasion, as Fondop went down and Gregory dived at his feet, the referee gave the dive, gave the yellow cards to Fondop. Fondop was absolutely furious. And a moment later was still furious when he got the ball in midfield, and Wood came in with a heavy tackle. Fondop felt he was fouled. While he protested to the referee, Young sensibly kept his eye on the ball, picked the ball up, nicked it away from his man, and fed it on to Rakeel Pike. Pike running in from the left-hand side, drove to the edge of the area, helped it on to Maguire-Drew on the right side of the box. Super moment of skill by Maguire-Drew, who had on his left foot, and then with a brilliant fake and swivel, took his man out completely, and to his right foot, pulled the ball across the face of goal, and there was Rakeel Pike attacking the 6-yard box with a little back flick finish. He does like his back heels, Rakeel Pike, doesn't he? 2 career goals, both back heels. Not bad. Wrexham 2-0 up in the 66th minute, and you rather felt with Wrexham going as they are at the moment, the momentum with them, that was that. Nobody saw Bromley, though. Immediately they came back at Wrexham. From the kick-off, they won a free kick, right-hand side, sloppy defending by Wrexham, the ball slung into the box, men getting goal side of them, and Lainton did well to come out, make himself big and save at his man's foot, but the danger hadn't gone. A corner comes in from the right-hand side. Lainton did well to get across and punched the ball away for a corner on the left-hand side this time, and when that was swung in, here came another controversial moment just shortly after that yellow card for Fondop. Omar Bagil, who'd been a nuisance all game for the Wrexham defenders, jumped in the goalmouth to try and win it. He shouted to the ref, and the ref pointed to the spot. Got to assume it was a shirt pull on Bagil. Nobody up here could really see it properly. In fact, I've just been talking to the Bromley club media guys, and they couldn't see what it was for. That's not to say it wasn't a penalty, by the way, just that it was not immediately apparent. But the ref pointed to the spot. Sutherland stepped up and sent Leighton the wrong way, tucking it inside the right post, and Bromley had a way back into the match. And the last quarter of the match was quite hard for Wrexham to watch, really, in all honesty. It looks a bit tired, a little bit leggy, to be honest. Maguire, Drew and Fondop have between them only finished 3 matches all the way through before today, and they both looked a little tired out, in all honesty. And Wrexham was struggling to really take the game to Bromley, who made further substitutions just to freshen things up and were pushing on. Having said that, the defence looked pretty solid, pretty firm with the keel right in front of it. And although Bromley were making Wrexham feel nervous, they weren't creating chances until the 91st minute when they won a corner. It was ripped in from the right-hand side by Sutherland, and poor Luke Summerfield attacking it misjudged it. It skidded off the top of his head and went across Leighton's goal and into the top left corner. Absolutely unsavable. And Wrexham, frustratingly, had lost a 2-goal lead, and that was a real blow. Even though they remain top of the table, this was a chance to maintain the momentum and take another win into the game on Monday. And the way Wrexham looked a bit tired at the end of this match, that could be a bit of a test. So, frustration for Wrexham. For more analysis, have a listen to what Lee Milford and myself thought of the match on Calon FM.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.
Well, frustration for Wrexham. 2 goals up. I'm just checking back. If I'm not mistaken, I hate to say this, last time Wrexham lost a 2-goal lead was at Wembley, the North Ferriby game. And the last time Wrexham lost a 2-goal lead at home was November 2014 when we lost 3-2 to Altrincham. But to be fair, we had 2 players sent off in that match, so it's a rare occurrence, Wrexham throwing a 2-goal lead away like that, and a frustrating one as well. And Lee, I mean, the fact is, the second half we didn't play as well as you might.
No, I think you've got to give credit to Bromley in the way that they came and the way that they tackled this game. You know, coming to a place like Wrexham, who are going to be up there at the end of the season, they've come and had a go, and they've come away with a point, and they'll be really happy with that.
And credit to their manager, Neil Smith. They picked 3 at the back, and we were finding space behind their wing backs. He adjusted the shape of the team in the second half, and they came at us. But also we tired, it looked like, didn't it? We certainly ran out of steam as well as the second half went on, as well as struggling to cause them problems. Yeah,
we did look tired. There was a couple of minutes to go, and Maguire Drew just out of nowhere just clicked it down to the right hand side to no one in particular. So no, you can see that we're tiring, and I think you said earlier it's a little bit worrying for Monday's game as well.
Yeah, we've got another game coming hot on the heels of this. We've picked up a couple of injuries. Jennings looks certainly to be fairly medium term. It looked like he'd done his hamstring. Bevan as well got knocked around a bit, didn't he, and had to be withdrawn. And the fact is that, you know, maybe Fondop and Maguire Drew might have been subbed. That's only the second time Maguire Drew's played a full 90 minutes for us, and the third time that Fondop has. But, you know, like I said, just a tiredness and an inability to really take the game to Bromley in the second half hurt us after a first half in which we looked quite inventive and caused them problems, especially on the breakaway.
Yeah, I think we looked okay in the first half. I don't think we were too bad in the second half. That we had a 5-minute period where we were well on top of the game and got the second goal, and that was great. But the penalty just kind of it brought it straight back into their favour. And then that Summerfield header in the closing minute of the game was extremely disappointing.
Yeah. Man of the match call. There were some good performances despite the frustration at the end.
I think there was. I think there's only one for me, and it's Akil Wright. I think he was for the full 90 minutes. He was everywhere. Interceptions, a couple of good passes forward as well. Yeah, he's the man of the match for me.
100% agree with that. He was tremendous, wasn't he? He made so many interceptions. He was absolutely all over the place. He really broke things up and tried to carry things forwards as well. And I feel a bit sorry for Summerfield because he had a decent shift of thought in the middle of the pitch and then scored the own goal.
Yeah, it's unlucky on him. I mean, he's tried to completely clear the ball and he's just not got enough on it, and it's just glanced into the net, and nothing that Leighton could do about that one.
Yeah, frustration for Wrexham. They held a 2-goal lead at home against a side they got 100% home record against, but the controversial penalty and an own goal denied them the victory with a final score of Wrexham 2, Bromley 2. I'll hand back to the studio.
This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.